Well, it depends on where you go and who's selling them, I think is probably the truth of the matter. Because we hear talk, at some of the big chains, they say, look, this is the entry point, this is middle of the road, this is premium. And they're three different prices, and that's how they sell them. There's low, middle, and high. But if you unpack that, is there a great deal of difference between those? And the often answer is not a great deal. And if you ask probing questions, sometimes you don't get a decent answer out of people. And I think that's true. So then is it spiel? Is it, do you want fries with that mentality? And you start to get a bit stressed and you get a bit burnt by it as well. But the reality is there's a hell of a difference between lower technology lenses, middle technology lenses, and higher technology lenses. And not everyone needs the high tech. But if you've got problems, then we can use
Mm.
that technology to solve those problems. So we try and match the product to the person. And if
Mm.
someone's got a problem with particularly um, glare and halos and starbursts at night, then we look for a lens that offers higher order aberration control. And what's the difference between, say, lower order aberrations and higher order aberrations? That's the difference between a cheaper lens and a better lens. So lower order aberrations, if I get my tongue around it, is what we do as optometrists. We check your prescription. We check whether or not you're long-sighted or short-sighted and whether you've got astigmatism. And that's a lower order aberration. And we fix that by doing a spectacle prescription. Higher order aberrations are totally different. And they're things like spherical aberration, coma, and there's a whole multitude of those. And you can, I can read out a list of them, but they're just different names for different types of halos and effects. And they are really impactful for vision. So if you want to fix those, there are lenses that have automatic reduction of say 20 different higher order aberrations and reduce those down to a minimal level for people. And we get people, in the studies that they look at, 98% of people saying things are much clearer than their other glasses. So if I wear those glasses at night, I have less problems with halos around headlights coming home. And it's not just the LED headlights, it's other lights as well. And it's something I've always had. But with these lenses that I'm wearing with higher order aberration control, I can see clearer for headlights. I can see clearer driving home, and it makes me feel more comfortable because that my vision for nights has been getting a little bit worse. And I'm thinking, oh, geez, I'm over 50. I'm starting to hit early cataracts or moderate cataracts in my eyes from my misspent youth.
Mm.
And I was blaming cataracts for my poor night vision, but actually it was my higher order aberrations, which are changing a bit with age. And by getting a lens that fixed that, it's made that part of my life driving home much more comfortable. And I feel safer as well because I've got more guarantee of what I'm seeing on the road.
So you talked about driving and halos. Are there any other kind of situations where people might appreciate the difference which a premium lens might offer? So around things like maybe computer work or
Mm.
reading, and like what other types of scenarios would premium lenses really make a difference for someone?
Absolutely. So when I talk to people, I can quiz them about what's your workstation look like. Is it one monitor? Is the monitor high set or is it low set? Is it in that's right in front of you? Are there two monitors side by side? And that changes what I would prescribe or recommend as a multifocal lens. And for some people, it's such a complicated workstation that we say, look, I can't do a normal multifocal for you. I would like to do an occupational one that's going to work perfectly for your environment, but they'll be great at your workstation, but you won't be able to drive home in them. So for those people, I sort of talk about the Swiss Army knife of glasses. That here is a very specific filleting knife. So it's going to do a very, very good job of one thing, and that's your
Hmm.
workstation. It's
Mm.
going to do a terrible job of trying to do everything else. So then we make a pair for work and maybe a different pair for home. And when do people decide to go that way? They go that way when their one pair is not cutting it at work.
Mm.
So
Okay.
that's one example. Second example is if we're getting people that are saying, look, the computer is their major problem, then we go for a lens that's got a much larger computer zone. And that's what some of these newer generation, slightly more premium lenses have got, is they've got much more detail there. And why is that becoming a thing? Well, because everyone's on computers. Of my generation, everyone's on computers. If we go
Mm.
to a younger generation, everyone's on smartphone.
Mm.
So the needs for someone on smartphone world or a tablet world is different to the needs of someone that's on a computer world. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it
Because
does.
one is middle distance, one is
Yes.
middle distance, arm's reach, looking ahead or looking down. The
Mm.
other is close, and we're
Mm.
looking down, and we sometimes have a lowered head posture as well. And
Mm.
all of those things need to be taken into consideration when we're recommending a lens. And then there are specialty lenses that will work as a one pair of glasses that will work better on a
Mm.
computer and there are other ones that are one pair of glasses that are really designed better for up close.
Mm.
Does that sort of make sense?
Yeah.
So that way we can tailor that product to the person. Some of
Mm.
them are good for the computer and they're in a cheaper bracket. Some are good for the computer and they're in a dearer bracket. And it's those other attributes of the lenses that make a
Yeah.
difference as well.
Yeah. Even with single vision lenses, I have seen some promotional material which suggests that there are differences in the clarity of the peripheral vision of the lenses between cheaper brands and maybe more expensive brands. Is that something that you can talk about?
Yeah, it is. There's a few things to consider. First is the cheaper lenses that you can buy are what they call stock, and stock means they're mass produced to an extent, and they're held in stock at a laboratory. And when we order them, we order stock lens, and they'll go and pick that lens for the right out of a packet that's on a shelf, and they put it in your job, and they pick the lens for the left out of a packet on another shelf, and they put it on your job, and that's how they go and get made. But the next thing is to going into what they call grind lenses, and grind lenses are custom made, and that's
Mm.
where you can start to do different things. So a grind lens might allow you to do a special type of inbuilt tint, which might be a yellow tint in them to create a higher contrast level. A grind lens might create smoother, less thick edges, which gives
Mm.
people better peripheral vision. A grind lens that's freeform designed, which means it's a computer designed curve and computer designed um, change from the center to the periphery across the lens accounts for a larger field of view with less distortion and less aberrations to the side of the eye as well. So all of those things could be done, but not normally in a stock lens. They're all done in more
Yeah.
specialty lenses as well.